Welcome to the School of Arts, Community, and Protective Services. I'm Heather Fowler, and I'm the Academic Chair for Arts and Community. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about Game Development Program. Our Game Development Program is a 2-year diploma. Our academic year runs from September to June, and it is primarily a digital blended online delivery. Because of the nature of the program and the blended delivery, we use a lot of computer software. Some of those software licenses, or most actually, are included in the cost of the 2-year program. And that includes programs such as Microsoft Suite, Adobe Creative Suite, Unity, Unreal Engine, and other gaming software. If you're interested in looking at some of the software that is available before you even take the program, you can often find 30-day trials available. So you can try the software for free before having to come into the program to get the actual licenses. Because of the nature of the program, we do require a laptop. All of our programs are considered live, so a laptop is necessary to be successful in the program. And in terms of the game development program, it's really important to have a computer that is a gaming computer. A regular laptop will probably not work very well in this program. We also do not recommend that you buy a Mac, because most of the programs for game development, such as Unreal and Unity, are not Mac recommended. And so we really are a PC program in this case. For example, some of the things that we might suggest would be Alienware 17-inch laptop, an MSI Apache Pro, MSI GL73 gaming laptop, or HP Omen 17-inch laptop, or a Dell G7 17-inch gaming laptop. We do recommend the 17-inch screen because of the nature of the work. You're on the computer a lot and you're programming a lot. Another really important feature is that you have a lot of memory. You need RAM. You need probably 16 gigabytes or more of RAM and a decent hard drive. And you really need a dedicated video card. So that means that instead of a regular laptop that has a video card that's built into the motherboard, you really need to have a piece of hardware, which is a separate video card that plugs into the motherboard with at least a 4 gigabyte memory minimum. We really actually recommend that you have 6 to 8 gigabytes or more. In the curriculum for the game development, you are going to be taking a lot of programming. You're going to be looking at mathematics. You're going to be looking at game engines, game development, such as storyboarding and basic sketching for game design. The storytelling and Photoshop is for art development, because even though you're doing programming, you will need to create some artistic elements in your program, especially for building a portfolio. We also look at interpersonal skills and project development. We really treat this program as if you're working in a pipeline. So although you need to have those individual computer skills and interpersonal skills and individual courses for those, you really are being prepared to work in a studio environment. So what does that studio life look like? Well, a typical day would be lectures, demos, and working on Brightspace. You would be working in teams. You would be working on individual projects. The good news is most of those projects are going to be very game specific or geared towards gaming. And so we're prepping you to work in that pipeline. The bad news is there's probably going to be a lot of them, because even in a typical gaming studio, you're working on a lot of different projects at once. It does involve teamwork. You will be working in teams. You will be working on it as well. There is work integrated learning and there is a practicum at the end of the 2 years. These things are work integrated learning, really apply the knowledge that you're learning in the theory classes. And that together gives you some industry experience. And we have other events too that we try to put into the program to give you a little bit more industry experience. But in the end, it's all geared towards giving you some real life examples and working on things that are relevant to the gaming industry. In our college life, we have a 717 schedule model, which means that our academic cycle is broken down into 3 terms. And in those terms, there is broken down into 2 sessions, each are 7 weeks long with a 1-week break. So for example, session A is September to October. Student Success Week, in which you could be, is like a study break week, where you could be working with mentors, you could be working with instructors on work that you're having issues with. You could be working with the student success team on various things to support your academics. And in session B, would go from November to December. And the same is repeated for our longer term in term 2, where we have session A, January to February, a success week on week 8, and then session B, March till April. In term 3, our session goes from April to about mid-June. With that college life, there is, of course, lots of evaluations. You have assignments and projects, presentations, discussion questions, exams, and rubrics. Every assignment or project that you have that you're being evaluated on will have a document called a rubric, which will tell you basically what it is that they're looking for you to do and explain the assignment and how to get a passing grade, or hopefully 100%. A passing grade for MBCC is 60%, and communication is really the key to success, because if we treat this like a game studio pipeline, so if you have a supervisor or an instructor and you're working on projects and you are not going to meet your deadline, or you're having issues, then it would be that expectation to communicate with your instructor or supervisor to let them know that you're having difficulty or you're not making that deadline, and then you can work it out with them as to what you can do to help you get to that deadline. We also look at a lot of industry events. For example, one of the things that we do try to attend every year is the Montreal International Game Summit. And that is specifically a gaming industry event. And the students do travel up to Montreal to take part. So the purpose behind some of those industry events is really about networking. Networking allows you to meet other professionals in the industry, other students in the industry, make connections that might get you a job. At the end of the day, probably only about 10% of jobs are ever filled by a job ad. It's really about who you know. That's how you hear about openings. That's how you hear about projects. That's how you hear about, what's coming down the pipe, what industry changes, what you should be looking at for trying to learn for your next, extension of learning. Those are the types of events that are really important to students, because they connect you with professionals in the industry. You get to see new tech. You get to see guest speaker events. Those are hugely important. So the other thing that sometimes our students will go to is the Ottawa International Film Festival. Same reason. Animation and gaming are very tied together as an industry. So the film festival is a support industry. Sometimes I make a joke, the artists make it look pretty and the programmers make it work. So it's a really related industry, and you need to be able to work with all of those other artists and work with all the other type of support teams. The other thing that we do during the year is the Global Game Jam. The Game Jam is, as it says, a global event. It is basically a 48-hour build a game. It is done with a secret theme. So the theme is not revealed until, say, Friday at 5 o'clock. You show up, get the theme, build your teams on the fly, and then build a game in 48 hours to present around the world. It's interesting, sometimes those games will get picked up as casual games, or people will take them and develop them on their own. One of the other industry events that we have for students is the Jalou Animation and Gaming Festival. That's actually held here in Miramichi in June. And it is actually an important industry event for our students, because we often have an industry showcase in which we have the students showcase students showing their work. live for people that may actually be looking to hire. We also have guest speakers and moderated events. So it is a really important piece to our program. So where do our students go? Well, our students go from the West Coast to the East Coast. And they will be working in places like Ubisoft, Silverback, Test Labs, Red Space, AlphaDog, EA. They really do work all over. I have students working in Montreal, students working in Vancouver, students working in Moncton, students working in Halifax. Students are getting jobs all over the Canada, and sometimes even going to the US. So what kind of jobs do you get? Well, students find employments in various areas, but these are probably the primary places that students are working. They're working as game programmers, game developers, game level designers, interactive media, game designers, game testing, Q&A, mobile game development, casual games, and even web game. Sometimes when students graduate, well, most of the time when students graduate, they do work for a company for a while. But there are a few that will branch out on their own, whether it's in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, or 10, and become their own entrepreneur and start their own business. There's many businesses that have been started. Once you have a feel for the industry, make some industry contacts, and then students will branch out on their own. We do have an Oasis project that students and alumni can access, and that is to support entrepreneurship in New Brunswick. So students can connect to the Oasis to receive advice, to take sessions, and to get support and being an entrepreneur. So that is actually a feature that NBCC has that is very attractive to people that are looking to do that. We also have articulation agreements. So articulation agreements mean that you can do 2+2 learning. For example, you can come to NBCC and get a 2-year diploma, but then you can go on to university and get a degree. So we do have articulation agreements with UNB Computer Science, UNBSJ in an applied science business degree, with Limerick University, and even St. Stephen's University. And the other opportunity that our students have is to participate in an internship program with Department of National Defense in Gagetown. And students who are working with the Department of National Defense could be working on training, supplemental material. They're working in VR. There's really cutting edge stuff that some of the things that they're working on. So they could be doing the programming behind some of those modules, and most of it is for training development for military applications, but they are really doing a lot of work with our students. So the internship program is a certificate. You apply and go through a vetting process. And if you are chosen, then you would be getting paid as an intern, but you would also be paying tuition because you're also taking as an advanced degree. So that is one possible avenue for advancing your learning that we have at NBCC. Classroom expectations are pretty general across the board for every program, but it's really about being engaged. Attendance, engagement, staying off your cell phone when you're actually, or gaming on your laptop while you're trying to listen to your lectures. That classroom time management is really important. So that students can get their projects done on time. The other thing is attitude, and whether you're in the program, in the right program at the right time. That's a really important part of being successful in academics, is being in the right program at the right time. And that helps with the perseverance and the patience, because it is a lot of work to go to college. You're doing projects, you're learning. And so that college life balance is really important. And when it's in the right program, it is much more supportive. If you have any questions about the program, you are more than welcome to contact NBCC through a recruitment advisor. They can put you through to an instructor or myself in the program so that we can set up to answer any questions that you might have.